Welcome back to On the Same Page. We are on Daf Vav Amud Beis 6b of Maseches Brachos. We're starting from the top line of the page in the middle of the line. Says the Gemara, Amar Ravin bar Rav Ada Amar Rabbi Yitzchak. Ravin bar Rav Ada said in the name of Rabbi Yitzchak, Kol haragil lavo lebeis haKnesses v'lo ba yom echad. If a person normally comes to shul and one day he doesn't come, HaKadosh Baruch Hu mashil bo. Kadosh Baruch Hu asks about him. He seeks him. Shenemar, as the pasuk says in Yeshaya, it says, Mi vachem yirei Hashem, who amongst you who are God-fearing, Shomeya bekol avdo, who listens to the voice of his servant, Asher halach hashechem, who walks in the dark, ve'ein no galo, and he has no light. And the end of the pasuk says he should rely on Hashem. So the simple reading is, who amongst you is a fear of God, who listens to the voice of his servant? I assume he means the Navi, listens to the prophet, who walks in the, who amongst you who walks in the dark and has no light, he should trust in Hashem. But the Gemara is darshaning that it's Hashem asking, Mi vachem yirei Hashem, who amongst you who is a fear of God, who normally comes to shul, but now he's halach hashechem, now he's going in the dark, he's not here, he doesn't show up to, he hasn't shown up to shul, so Hashem seeks what is the reason that he hasn't come to the Beis HaKnesses. And then it continues, it says, Vein ogalo, he has no light, meaning, im lidvar mitzvah halach nogalo. If he's not there because he went to do a mitzvah, so then he has light. Im lidvar shus halach, but if he just went to do something else that's optional, that's not a mitzvah, so then ein nogalo, then he's not going to have light, seemingly meaning he won't have the protection. If he skips tefillah and goes to do something optional instead, he won't have protection. And the end of the pasuk, Yiftach b'shem Hashem, he should rely on Hashem, means, my time, and what's the reason he has no light? Mishum dahavalei liftach b'shem Hashem v'lo batach. He should have relied on the name of Hashem, and he didn't, and that's why he went to take care of dvar harashus, of permitted matters that aren't obligations. So the Marsha explains that according to the drasha, it says, who amongst you fears Hashem, who listens to the voice of his servant, meaning who comes to shul and listens to the shliach tzibur. If you don't come to shul, there's no chazan, you can't come and listen to a shliach tzibur. And instead he's gone and walked in the dark, because of something that has no light, meaning for something optional, and what is he talking about? He goes for business. He misses tefillah because he goes to business. So the pasuk concludes, he should have been batach b'Hashem. He should have, instead of skipping tefillah to go take care of business, he should have instead had bitachon, had trusting Hashem that he would take care of him. So if a person doesn't come to shul, Hashem asks, what is the reason he's not here? Is it for a dvar mitzvah? Is it because he has a mitzvah he's taking care of, or is it just something that is optional? Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan said, B'shasha kadosh baruch hu ba bebeis haKnesses v'lamatza ba'asara. When Hashem comes to the shul and he doesn't find that there's a minyan there, miyadu kois. Immediately he gets angry. Shenemar, as it says in Yeshaya again, it says, Madua basi ve'ein ish. Why have I come and there's no man? Karasi ve'ein ona. I call out and there's nobody who answers. So the Marsha here explains, we learned in last week's Amud, Vav Amar Aleph, 6a, that when there's a minyan present, so the Shechina's there. And not only that, we said, but the Shechina preempts the minyan. The Shechina precedes them and waits for the minyan to come. So over here, if there's expected to be a minyan, so the Shechina comes. But if the minyan doesn't actually come, So somebody, meaning there's usually 10, and there's somebody who doesn't show up. So then Hashem gets angry, and he says, Madua basi ve'ingish. Why have I come and there's not a man, meaning one person's missing, and make it that there's not a minyan, and it ends karasi ve'ingona. They call out, but there's no answer, meaning that they can't call out a davar shebekdusha because there's no minyan. So they can't say Kaddish Baruch Hu. They can't say Dvarim Shebekdusha. So and Kedusha. So because one person didn't come. Okay, so that's described as Hashem gets angry at that. Amar Bichalba Amar Rav Huna. Rav Chalba said the name of Rav Huna. Kla Kovei Amakom L'Tfilaso Elokei Avram Be'ezra. Anybody who sets a place for their tefillah, the Gar of Abraham is at their side, it assists them. Because they are emulating the ways of Abraham, as we're about to see. Ukishemeis, and when the person dies, Omrim lo, they say to him or about him, Ey Anav, Ey Chassid, where has the humble one gone? Where has the righteous one gone? Mitalmidav shel Avram Avinu, from amongst the students of Avram Avinu. So a person who is koveya has a set place to daven, so they are a student of Avram Avinu, as it says, Avram Avinu minalan dekava makom. How do we know Avram Avinu was koveya makom, had a set place to daven? Tichsiv, as it says, vayashkim Avram baboker, and Avram got up in the morning, el hamakom asher amad sham, to the place where he had stood. So he went back to the place where he had stood. Ve'engamida el tefillah. And standing refers to tefillah, the place where he had davened. Shenemar vayamod Pinchas vayipalel. It says about that Pinchas stood and he davened. So we associate amida, standing, with davening. So when it says that Avram got up in the morning to the place where he had stood, it means he went back to the place where he had davened, meaning he would have a makom kavua. He would have a set place where he would daven. What's the idea of having a set place? So some say, I think it's like karbanos had set places where they were shechted, different types of karbanos. Another idea is that it says here that you're called an anav, you're called humble if you have a set place. Because if you keep moving around, so that could imply that the reason my tefillah wasn't answered was because I was just it wasn't such a good place. Let me try another seat. Maybe then my tefillah will be answered. Instead of looking inside and saying maybe there was something wrong with my tefillah, maybe I didn't daven well enough. So if you set a place, you understand it's not about the place so much. It's about your personal tefillah, and that's, if you do that, that's a sign of humility. Okay. Amar Rabbi Chalbo, Amar Rav Huna. Rabbi Chalbo said the name of Rav Huna. Hayotzim beis haKnesses, one who leaves shul, al yafsia psia gasa. He shouldn't take large steps. You don't run, basically. Don't take big steps. When you leave shul, don't rush out. That's only when you leave. But when you come to shul, mitzvah lemarhet. It's a mitzvah to hurry. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, nirdufa ladasis Hashem. Let's give chase to know Hashem, meaning run to know Hashem, run to daven. Rabbi Zera said, originally, when I saw the rabbis or the students running to the shir on Shabbos, so to the drasha, Amina, I said, Kamachalyan Rabbanan Shabbos. They're violating Shabbos. You don't run on Shabbos. But Kivan de Shamana, right? That's learned from it's learned from the pasuk that says, we learn you shouldn't walk the way you do in the week. Maybe me'asos terachecha, might be a different word there in that pasuk in Yeshaya. So originally he thought they're running. You're not supposed to run on Shabbos. So, I think it says, restrain your foot, your raglecha. So you're not supposed to run the way you do on Shabbos, the way you do during the week. So he saw them running. He said they're violating Shabbos. So, but Kevan de Shemana l'had Rabbi Tanchum Amar Bishur ben Levi. But when I heard the teaching of Rabbi Tanchum in the name of Bishur ben Levi, which is what Le'olam Yaretz Adam L'Dvar Halacha, person should always run to a Dvar Halacha or Dvar Mitzvah for a mitzvah. V'afilu b'Shabbos, even on Shabbos. Shenemar, as it says, Achrei Hashem Yelchu Ka'aryeh Yishak. After Hashem, they should go like a roaring lion. So even on Shabbos, you're allowed to run to do a mitzvah. So Ananam Yirahitna. So I also run now. That's what Reb Zera said. Reb Zera says, originally I thought it was wrong that they were running, but then I heard that for a Dvar Mitzvah you can run even on Shabbos. So now I run too. Rabbi Zera. Now on that topic, Rabbi Zera added, Igra de Pirka Rata. The reward for going to a shir is the running to get to the shir. And the way Rashi explains it is because often a person doesn't understand the shir. But that's okay. They still get schar. They still get rewarded for running to get there and for being there seemingly. But he says the main schar, if somebody goes to shir in particular, if they're not going to understand it so well, so they're not going to be able to say it over. And it's interesting. Rashi says they won't be able to say it over after a time, as if the expectation is you hold on to everything you hear. But if you can't, don't worry. You still get schar for running there. Amar Abaye, so now that we're talking about these types of descriptions, Abaye now says, Igra dekala dochka. The reward for going to the Shabbos Kala, which is the Yarche Kala, when people would gather in Yerushalayim before the Regalim. Actually, not in Yerushalayim, just they would gather to hear a shir about the upcoming Regel. So is dochka is the squishiness, is withstanding the it might be tight, but that's what you get schar for. That's what you get rewarded for. Amar Rava said Igra Deshmaitza Svara. The reward for learning, for delving into a topic is the svara, is the logic that you use, is the thinking basically, the tircha involved, the effort involved. Amar Papa Igra de Beitam Yeshtikusa. The reward of going to a Beis Avel, a mourner's house, is being silent and listening and that way, not just saying everything that comes to your mind. Amar Marzutra says Igra de Ta'anisa Tzidkasa. The reward for fasting is the tzedakah that you give. That's the main reward of the fasting. It's not the fasting itself, but it's the tzedakah that one gives. The Maharsha says, interesting, he says, part of the idea here is that when you fast, you save money, because you don't eat. So you give that money to tzedakah, so that you don't gain from the fast. Amar of Sheshes, Igra de Hespeda Dugui. The main reward for hesped, for eulogizing, is to raise one's voice in crying. That's the main part of a hesped, of a eulogy. Amar Rav Ashi said, Igra de Behiluli Mili. The main reward for going to a wedding is the words that you share with the chassan and kala, praise and things that bring them joy. That's the main reward for going to a wedding. Amar Rav Huna said, Nikra Rasha. Anybody who davens behind a shul is called a Rasha. It's called a wicked. Shenemar, as it says, Saviv Rishayim Yishalechun. The Rishayim go around. Amar Abaye said, Amar Anela Dulo Mahader Ape Lebekanista. It's talking about only where you don't face the shul. Mahader Ape Lebekanista Leslan Ba. But if you turn your face to the shul, then it's not a problem. So Rashi describes that that in the shuls in those times, the entrances were all in the east, and just like in the Beis HaMikdash and the Mishkan, and they would face the west, and their backs would be to the east inside the shul. Now somebody behind the shul, who faces with their back to the shul is like they're not davening in the towards what everyone else is davening to, and it almost implies that they're davening to someone else. Now, the poskim note that this is if one is outside, but if it's just another building, so then it's considered separate, and it won't be, this halacha wouldn't apply. And I saw that in some of the Mefarshim, didn't look at the practical halacha, but then that person should just daven towards east, towards Yerushalayim, like we're generally supposed to. But if there's a shul and it's set up in a certain way, that even if it's not facing Yerushalayim, or if it is, and you're behind the shul or in front, you're behind the wall of the shul, so then you should face the shul. Okay. Ahu gavra de kamatzli achari bekanista. There was a man who was davening behind the shul. He didn't face the shul, so he was doing this. Chalaf Eliyahu came, Eliyahu Hanavi, Chazieh and Yisayim. He passed by Yisayim. Idmile Kitaya, and he appeared to him like a merchant, an Arab merchant. Amar le, he said to him, Kedo bar kayamta kame marcha. So it seems what he was saying was, do you have two... So you could translate, is this how you stand before your master? Some say, Rashi seems to say that do you have two masters? Shalaf safsara v'katla. He pulled out a sword and he killed him. It's difficult to understand. This may be Eliyahu Hanavi in his kina, his fury, his zealousness. Some say some don't have Eliyahu Hanavi in the Girsa at all, and it was just a random Arab who passed by. It wasn't Eliyahu Hanavi appearing as an Arab. It was an actual Arab merchant, and the Arab killed this guy. Some have that the guy he killed was actually an Arab merchant, or he thought he was an Arab merchant. Then Eliyahu Hanavi didn't know who it was. It's hard to understand that way. Okay. Amar Yahu me'Rabbanan l'Rabibi bar Abaye. One of the sages said to Rabbi bar Abaye, "V'amri la Rabibi l'Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak." Some say Rabibi said to Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, "My kirum zulus livnei adam." So we quoted a pasuk before about not davening behind the shul. We said Saviv Rishayim Yisalechun, the Rishayim go around, and the end of that pasuk says Kurum zulus livnei adam, which literally means like when the zulzas, the most disgraceful, the basest of men are kurum, are elevated. So, but he's going to have a different understanding of those words. Amar le, he said to him, Elu dvarim sha'omdim beruma shalom de adam izazlim bahen. What it refers to is things that stand in the loftiest realms of the world, and people are mizazal, they disgrace them. What is that? Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Elazar Damri Tabayu. Sorry, actually, it doesn't even say what it's referring to. It does not say in the Gemara what it's referring to. Rashi says, Kigon tefillah sha'ol l'mala. It's like tefillah. Something that's in the high heavens is tefillah. And people disgrace it. People don't give it its proper weight, its proper attention, its proper kavana. Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Elazar Damri Tarvayu, they have a different understanding, a different explanation of these words. They both say, Kivash nistarich adam lebrios. When a person becomes needy, he becomes poor, and he needs support, so then they feel disgraced. Panav mishtanos kikrum. It's saying that their face changes and becomes like a krum. What's a krum? Shneimar krum zulus livnei adam. Right? That zulus, that being disgraced, being dependent, is krum, is like a krum. What's a krum? My krum? Kiyasr of Dimi. Amar, when Rav Dimi came, he said, Of echad yesh bekar chayayam. There's a certain type of bird in the villages of the sea, in the islands, ukrum shemo, and it's called a krum. V'kiman shecham azarachas, and when the sun shines, mishapich l'kama gavning, it can change colors. So he seems to be saying that somebody who feels disgraced because they're needy and dependent feels like it has the experience of a krum, of one of these birds whose face changes colors. Reb Ami and Reb Asi, Damri Tarvayo, they both say, Ki'ugo nidam b'shnei dinim eishumayim. It feels like somebody is being judged with both fire and water. Shenemar, as it says in Tehillim, it says here, Kafta enosh liroshenu. You placed man on our heads. Man rode on our heads. Banu b'ishmaim, we came under fire and water, and the Gemara is interpreting that Roshenu here means our poverty. So you had men who ride over us in our poverty when people are dependent on others, so it doesn't feel good, and it's like coming in both fire and water. So it's like a double punishment in terms of the feel, or a double being judged double. Both fire and water is the feeling of somebody who has to depend on others. Okay, ve'amar Rabbi Chava amar Rav Huna, and Rabbi Chava was saying Rav Huna, ve'olam yehei adam zar b'tfilas hamincha. Person should be very careful about davening mincha. Sheharei, this could mean davening on time, could mean davening with kavana. Shari Eliyahu lo nena b'tfilas mincha. Where do we see that mincha is so great? Because Eliyahu Hanavi at Har Carmel, on Mount Carmel, when he had his showdown with the prophets of the Baal, he was answering at mincha time. Shenemar, as it says, Vayi ba'losa mincha. It was when mincha time came. Vayigash Eliyahu Hanavi, and Eliyahu Hanavi came close. Vayomer, and he said, Vigomer, and what he said was, Aneni Hashem Aneni. Hashem, answer me. Aneni sheterid eish min hashamayim. Answer me that fire should come down from the heavens and consume his offering, because that was his duel with the prophets of the Baal, was whoever fire would come down and consume their offering would be considered correct. So he said, answer me that fire should come down. V'aneni shelo yomru ma'isek shafin. The reason why he repeated aneni, answer me, was he was saying, and answer me that nobody should claim that this was just sorcery. So, and Eliyahu Hanavi was answering at the time of mincha, so you see that mincha is an auspicious time for our prayers to be answered. Tosfos in Psachim explains that the reason is... Tosfos says something else. The Aruch HaShulchan says that the reason why mincha is an auspicious time is because it's the end of the avoda of the day. The mincha time corresponds to the afternoon karban tamid, and that's the closer. That's the last avoda of the day. So it's like ne'ilah almost. So it has a special power to it, and that's why mincha time is an auspicious time. The Gemara then says, Rabbi Yochanan Amar af b'tfilas arbis. Ma'ariv is also very good. Shenemar, as it says, Tikon tefilasi ketores lefanecha. Let my tefillah be prepared like ketores, like incense before you. Masas kapi minchas erev. The giving of my hands, the minchas erev, the gift of the evening, meaning the evening prayer. So, and the ketores was brought in the afternoon, after the karban mincha, I think, or it's part of the karban mincha, but it's the end of the day, so that could correspond to Ma'ariv, minchas erev, and so Ma'ariv is also a very auspicious tefillah, says Rabbi Yochanan. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Amar af tefillas shachris. He says even shachris shenemar. As it says, Hashem, Boker Tishma Koli, Hashem, in the morning you listen to my voice, Boker Erech Lecha, in the morning I will arrange my words for you, V'atzap, and I'll hope to you. So the morning is also good. So it comes out all are good, but it could be, Mincha is unique, it's mentioned first, and the first opinion seems to only say Mincha, and then the others add on the other tefillos as well. Something special about Mincha. V'amar Rav Chelbo, Amar Rav Huna, and Rav Chelbo saying Rav Huna, anybody who enjoys the meal of a chasan, a wedding meal. Ve'ena mesamcha, but doesn't bring joy to the chasan, to the groom. Over b'chamisha kolos. He transgresses the 5 voices. What's the 5 voices? What does it mean transgresses? So he's mizalz on them, he's disgracing them. Shenemar, as it says, kol sason v'kol simcha, a sound of rejoicing, a sound of joy. Kol chasan v'kol kala, the sound of the chasan, of the groom, sound of the kala, of the bride. Kol omrim, and the voice that says, Hodu es Hashem tzivakos, give thanks to Hashem. So 5 kolos, 5 voices mentioned in that pasuk, and the pasuk could be understood to be in the context to at least relate to a marriage, and so those are kolos, those are voices that come at a wedding, but only for one who gives joy to the chassan and kala. The Maharsha understands, I think, that these voices are the voice that comes forth when somebody gives joy to the chassan and kala, when they give words of praise. So these are the voices that come forth. There's 5 voices. The Maharsha says there's 5 ways there's 5 different types of ways to enunciate words. There's with the tongue and the teeth and the lips and the throat and another one from there's 2 I think in the throat, 2 different ones. So one's more guttural. So 5 ways that we enunciate words, and the one who praises, who brings joy to the chassan and kala with his words, so merits what they're bringing down these sort of 5, bringing out these 5 sounds which are represented by the 5 voices mentioned in the pasuk. V'im mesamcha, and if he does bring them joy, maschara, what is his reward? Amar Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi, zocha l'Torah, he merits Torah shenitna b'chamisha kolos, which was given with 5 voices. And again, those 5 sounds that are within the Aleph Beis letters. Shenemar, as it says, where do we see those 5 sounds? Vayi bayom hashlishi, b'yosa boker, it was on the 3rd day in the morning. Vayi kolosu vrakim, there was thunder and lightning. Ve'anan kaved al har, and a thick cloud on the mountain. Ve'kol shofar, and the sound of the shofar. And then it says later, Vahi kol ha-shofar, and the sound of the shofar went. And then it says, Va'alokim yanenu v'kol, and Hashem will answer with a voice. So it says kol 5 times. Or the first time it says kolos, plural, which is 2. And then it says kol shofar, 3. Then again kol ha-shofar, 4. And Halokim yanenu v'kol, that's 5. So 5 times that there's voices mentioned in the context of the giving of the Torah, a person who brings joy to the chassan and kala using those 5 sounds of the Aleph Beis, those 5 different voices, merits the Torah, which has 5 voices within it, 5 sounds within it, 5 types of sounds. Ask the Gemara, Eini, is it true there's only 5? Haksiv, but the pasuk says, "V'chol am roim hasakolos." It says that the whole nation saw the sounds. So it sounds like there's more. Then add another 2. We have another plural kolos. So says the Gemara, no, osan kolos dekodem matan Torah havu. No, it said, at least how the Maharsha understands it, is it means the same kolos. It's telling you those 5 sounds that we just mentioned that appeared at the beginning of Matan Torah, leading up to the giving of the Torah, they saw those. That's what it's telling you. They saw those sounds. So they were able to actually witness again, we don't understand what that means exactly, but they were able to witness the 5 different sounds. They could see it with their eyes. Somehow these sounds expressed in the air, the 5 different sounds that make up the Torah. Again, and by sounds I mean types of sounds. There's with the teeth and the tongue and the lips and the throat, etc. Rabbi Abo says that if you bring joy to a chassan and kala, ki'ilu hikriv toda, it's as if you brought a carbon toda, thanksgiving offering. Shenemar, as it says, meviim toda beis Hashem. The end of that pasuk, the end of the verse about kol sasam and kol simcha, it ends off, Mevi'in Toda Beis Hashem, they're bringing a Toda to the house of Hashem. So bringing joy to a Chassan and Kala is like bringing a Toda, bringing a thanksgiving to the house of Hashem. And again, because the way you bring joy to them is by praising them and sharing the thoughts of blessings and Hashem's kindnesses. That's what brings joy. So it's like you're bringing a thanksgiving offering. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Amar, Kilu bana achas michorvos Yerushalayim. It's as if you rebuild one of the ruins of Yerushalayim. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, the end of that pasuk, Ki ashiv eshvu sa'aretz kvar yishona amar Hashem, because I will return of the land like at first, says Hashem. So, and the simple reading of that pasuk, I think, is describing that time where we'll return to Yerushalayim, and it's describing what the sounds will be like. Kol sasam, kol simcha, kol chasam, kol kala. You'll have all these sounds, and the sound of those thanking Hashem when I return the people like they were at first. But Rabbi Nachman bar Yitzchak is kind of flipping it, and he's saying that if you bring out these sounds, if you through bringing joy to a Chassan and Kala, you bring about that rebuilding. It's as if you bring about that rebuilding of Yerushalayim. Ve'am Rabbi Chabal Amar Rav Huna, and Rabbi Chabal said the name Rav Huna, Kol Adam Sheish Bo Yiras Shamayim, Dvarav Nishmayim. Anybody who has fear of heaven, his words are heard. Shenemar, as it says, the end of Koheles, it says, Sof Davar Hakol Nishma. At the end of the matter, everything is heard. Es Elokim Yira, Yishik Fear Hashem, and Gar His mitzvos. So the Gemara is learning Hakol Nishma Es Elokim Yira. Everything is heard for one who fears Hashem. That's the drasha. Then he asks, "My kizek al adam." So what's the next part of the pasuk? Because this is all of man. So if you read the pasuk just on its simple reading, simple level, so it's telling you, "Sof dara kol nishma." At the end of the day, when everything's been heard, es elokim yira, fear Hashem, kizek al adam, because that's all that matters to man is to fear Hashem. That's the simple reading. But we're darshaning that it means that it's praising the fear of Hashem. It's telling you, Hakol Nishma Yirei Hashem. And it's praising he who fears Hashem and saying everything will be listened. Everyone will listen to him. And then it says, Kizek Kol Adam. So what does that mean in that context? If it's a praise of the person, what does it mean, Kizek Kol Adam? So Amar Rabbi Lazar, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem says, what it's telling you is the whole universe is only created for him. And the Maharsha says that there's going to be 3 levels here. And the first level is saying the entire creation, including the highest realms of spirituality, of Malachim, all that is created for man. That's the praise. Kizek Ola Adam, meaning everything is for man. Everything. For man who fears Hashem. Rabbi Abba Bar Kahana Amar Shakol Zek Neged Kol Olam Kulo. What he's telling you is he's equal to all the worlds, meaning Maharsha says that the world of the luminaries of this outer space, that's all of the stars and the sun and the moon, that's all for the purpose of man who fears Hashem. This whole world is only is only to assist, to join together with man. It's all for his purposes as a God-fearer. Sorry, something just fell from my yarmulke. Okay. V'amar Rabbi Chalba, and Rabbi Chalba said, Amar Rav Huna, Kol sheyodea b'chaveiro shu ragel liting lo shalom. Somebody knows that his friend usually says peace, says hello to him first. Yakdim lo shalom. He should say hello to him first. Shenemar, as it says, Bakei shalom rodfeyu. Seek peace and chase after it. So I guess we're darshaning, we're learning out that you should be the one to seek peace. You should be first, if you can. Now, if you tell somebody, if you greet somebody and they don't answer, nikra gazlan. The other person is called a gazlan, a thief. Shenemar, as it says, ve'atem bi'artem hakerem gazalta ha'ani bevatechem. You, in Yeshai it says, you burned the vineyard, you stole from the poor in their house. Now, how do you steal from the poor? They don't have anything. So it means you steal their nobility, their respect. Because when you don't, it's possible to steal even from somebody who doesn't have anything by not giving them respect. If they greet you, not returning the greeting, that is a lack of respect. That's stealing their pride, and that's how you can steal even from a poor person. Okay, we'll hold here.